Hello and welcome to another episode of TechFlow. Now this one is quite exciting. As you might hear in the background, something is humming quite loudly. And that's because I've gotten my hands on an iMac. And this is not just any iMac. This is a 1998 Bondi Blue iMac. Very exciting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make videos of it. This will be the first video, and I'm pretty sure I'll make more of these. This one will be me reinstalling OS 9 on it. It came with OS 9. It was before OS 10 was even out. OS 10, of course, started in the year 2000. This was the 1998 model. I might install OS 10 on it some other point, having a dual boot OS 10 and OS 9. But for the moment, it's just an OS 9 machine. It came with all of the original software. So I actually have all of the original software disks, including learning applications for children and Adobe InDesign and many other things like that. That's actually quite nice. But without, waiting too long and just having way too long an introduction, I'm going to show you the machine and get started with the reinstallation of OS 9. So here it is from the front, the Bondi Blue iMac. If we just spin around to the side, you can slightly see the translucency. It's not as overpowering as you might think, but it is there. Although it doesn't come through on the video as much as it is in reality. If you take it from the top, maybe it doesn't come through that clearly on video. Although there are other pictures on the internet and around YouTube with videos that capture the translucency a bit better than I can. Obviously, I have it stacked away in a corner, and my camera right here isn't of the top quality. But if I just boot from the OS installation disk, which I have in the machine right now, can be a little tricky to do with one hand. Actually, this is something quite nice. There's a power button on the Mac itself, right there. But if you have the USB keyboard attached, you can use a power button that is on the keyboard itself, right there. Obviously, this is the original Apple keyboard, and I have the original circular mouse with just one button. Not double click or anything like that. Not dual click. You know, with modern Apple mouses, you have the touch surface, which you can use as right click or alt click. But let's boot from the disk drive. That loud boing noise right there. I played some audio on the machine, and that boing noise seems to be much louder than anything it can produce other than that, which is kind of funny. And we have a boot screen. Let's see if we go into the disk. If you're interested, I'm holding the C button to boot from the disk. Obviously, you can do the same as on modern Macs, where you hold the Alt button to see all bootable drives. I'm sorry about the flickering, but there's nothing I can really do about that. It's an old CRT type display, and they do flicker. And it should be launching from the disk. Although this does look like a normal OS 9 boot up. Maybe something went wrong, maybe I didn't hold it in time. If this doesn't work, I'll just pause the video right here and I'll be back when I actually have the boot up from the disk. Which I think I'll do regardless. I'll be back when something interesting happens. Alright, so again, sorry about the flickering. It's an old CRT. But what happened is, I clicked through some agreement stuff, and I am now installing Mac OS 9 again. Interesting. I will unpause the video again when OS 9 is back up. Might take a while. I'll report the time to you. So the installation is complete. The time was actually surprisingly short. It said it would take 10 minutes, but it only took like 5 minutes, maybe. Interesting about the installation, nothing much except the fact that it was all done through a visual interface, which of course you you wouldn't even imagine on regular Windows-based systems back then. I mean, even now, most of Windows installation is done still with no mouse input. So that was interesting. But yeah, system's up and running, and it brings us to a short introduction message to OS 9 right there. So yeah, I'm going to go through that and I'm going to report back to you. Just a little side note real quick, I'm kind of digging this keyboard. Of course, it's not as nice as the newer Apple keyboards, but it is actually quite nice, and the typography on it is, you know, you don't necessarily associate this kind of typography with Apple, at least not modern Apple, but of course, old school Apple did use this kind of typography. But it is quite nice, and it actually feels quite nice. The only gripe I have with it is that the F and J buttons don't have as clear markings on them as you might want. They do have markings, but they're not as clear as you might want them. So that's it. The mouse, I can understand why a lot of people would hate it. It is a circular mouse and it does feel kind of weird, but I kind of like it actually. It looks good, and if you hold it in sort of an unnormal fashion, it actually feels quite good in your hand as well. So that's just something I wanted to touch on real quick. Again, it's not modern Apple, and it's not modern anything. It's very clearly you know, old school shit. But for what it is, it's really nice actually. Yeah, I kind of like it. Alright, so as you might be able to see, I have made the what's it called, the flickering on the screen quite a lot better. I did this by changing the resolution down so that now it runs at, I think, 117 Hertz. What I can do is I can put it up again to 1024 by 768 so you can see the difference. A lot more flickering, right? Quite painful. So look at running stand very often. Of course, the flickering isn't actually visible for me. It's only visible for you. But yeah, I'll fix the flickering in all other video views from now on. Overall, the OS installation was rather painless. Simple operating system. Quite easy to set up. I'm not doing internet obviously because, well, not obviously because it can actually do internet. That's what the I stood for originally in iMac, and it's what it stands for in this thing. But I don't really have the opportunity to wire an Ethernet cable, and that's the only way to get it up. But it seems to be quite a nice OS, and I'm quite happy with my purchase of this machine. I will be bringing a more in-depth view of the operating system and the applications that came with the machine, which actually came in these very nice Apple branded boxes, and also the manual is here. And that's the manual, and the box for the software looks very much like the manual, very good looking. So I'll be bringing you a more in-depth view of these things later. Thank you.